Hey there. Today we're going to talk about a really difficult, frustrating, but also completely normal phase of building any new habit. It's that moment when it feels like everything is about to just fall apart. If you've ever felt this, trust me, you are not alone. In this explainer, we're going to get into exactly what's happening in your brain and how you can get through it. I want to start with this because it's probably the most important thing you're going to hear. If you're a few weeks into a new routine and all of a sudden you're struggling with old cravings, you have not failed. This feeling, it's a predictable, even necessary part of the whole process. The journey usually looks a little something like this. You start out on day one, you're super motivated. And that motivation, it carries you through the first week or two. You feel disciplined, you feel strong, and then you hit the crisis. That 2 to 3 week mark is where the real work, the real change actually begins. And it's this crisis point that so often gets overlooked, right? We love to celebrate the start, and we admire the finish, but we almost never talk about the messy, difficult middle part. So does any of this sound familiar? All of a sudden, that new good habit, going to the gym, studying every day, it just feels less exciting. And at the same time, those old habits start whispering, and then they start getting a lot louder. The cravings peak, and your own mind starts trying to negotiate with you, saying things like, come on, just this one time is okay. This is what we call the plateau.
So why does this happen? I mean, it really feels like a failure of willpower, doesn't it? But it's actually a biological response. Let's take a look at why your brain starts to fight back.
See, when you stop an old, easy habit, like mindlessly scrolling on your phone or grabbing junk food, you're basically taking away a source of cheap, easy dopamine. Your brain, which is wired for efficiency and comfort, it feels this as a kind of discomfort. It's a real chemical shift that's happening. After a couple weeks of this new, harder routine, your brain is basically saying this. It's not a moral failing on your part. It's really just your brain trying to get back to what it sees as balance and comfort. It just misses the path of least resistance. This really reframes the whole experience. In the beginning, any progress feels loud and exciting. You get a little dopamine hit from every small win. But as a habit starts to truly integrate into your life, that excitement fades, the dopamine stabilizes, the habit just starts to feel, well, normal, and the progress becomes quiet. So this is the crucial takeaway here. That feeling of things becoming less exciting isn't a sign that it's not working anymore. The silence you're experiencing is not stagnation, it's actually a sign of success. It means the habit is becoming an automatic part of who you are.
Okay, so knowing the why is one thing, but how do you actually get through this phase? Let's dive into some really practical strategies for how to hold steady when those cravings come knocking.
This is the thought. This is the one that shows up right on schedule. And it is so tricky because it sounds perfectly logical, right? It doesn't feel like you're giving up. It feels like you're getting a well-earned reward. And this just illustrates perfectly why that thought is so dangerous. Bad habits rarely storm back into your life. No, they knock politely. They're disguised as a totally reasonable request for a small break or a little treat. That thought is the doorway right back to your old patterns. So what do you do when that polite knock comes? The first strategy is incredibly simple, but so powerful. Do not engage. Don't get into a debate. Don't negotiate. Just delay. So here's how it works. The moment a craving appears, you just have to stop that internal negotiation. The whole should I, shouldn't I debate? Instead, you just calmly tell yourself, I'll think about that later. See, most cravings are really intense, but they're also temporary. If you can just put a little bit of distance between you and the impulse, it will often just fade away on its own. All right, strategy number 2 is for those days when you truly feel like you just don't have the energy to do the full thing. The idea here is to keep your consistency, even if you have to lower the intensity.
So instead of skipping the gym entirely, just go for a 10-minute walk. Instead of not studying at all, just do it for 15 minutes. The goal isn't to have a perfect workout or a perfect study session. The goal is to not break the chain. Just showing up, even in a small way, reinforces this new identity you're building.
This kind of redefines what discipline really is, doesn't it? It's not about having some superhuman willpower. True, sustainable discipline, that comes from making your habits so simple and so automatic that it's actually easier to do them than to skip them. It's about removing that decision fatigue.
And this brings us to the final and maybe the most important part of this whole process. This tough phase, it isn't just something you have to survive. It's where the most meaningful growth actually happens.
The real cost of giving in during this phase isn't just about the habit itself. Every single time you break a promise to yourself, you chip away at your own self-trust. So protecting your streak is about protecting the belief that you are someone who does what they say they're going to do. And that identity, that is worth fighting for.
Anyone can start something when they feel motivated, but this quiet, difficult phase, this is the real test. Pushing through it is what separates the people who just start things from the people who actually build new lives, new identities. This is where real maturity is forged.
Just think about that for a second. The return of those strong cravings isn't a sign that you're failing. It's actually a sign that your brain is actively rewiring itself. It's pushing back because the change is becoming permanent. That discomfort you're feeling, that is the feeling of real, meaningful transformation taking root. And that's the last thought I want to leave you with. This difficult plateau, it's temporary. It will pass. But if you can just hold steady, if you can lower the bar but keep showing up, the person you become on the other side of it, that stronger version of you, that part stays for good.